Now, my daughter's been living with my mom for roughly a year now, almost a year. A lot of back and forth. She does visit her mom. She does stay with her mom. She does stay with my mom. But it's been roughly about a year now that my daughter's been living primarily at my mother's house.
Lost my car, and then like I had to donate plasma. Didn't have money for like to support our kids, so I didn't have any help from him. And he was telling me, "Oh, go buy my own diapers. I could do this all by myself. He's only gonna give money to his mom."
Parties are contesting who should be named primary in this case, so we're pretty much contested on all issues at this point.
Okay, well, ordinarily when there's a issue with regards to the residence of the child, that is not something that is part of the issues here with the Attorney General's office and with this court. That usually gets referred back to another court. But what I can do is hear some testimony as to the current status of the child, render some temporary orders. And since both of you will be contesting where the final residence of this child will be under orders, you will have to have your hearing conducted before a district court judge regarding that issue. Okay, so it's here with the Attorney General's office and with this court, that usually gets referred back to another court. But what I can do is hear some testimony as to the current status of the child, render some temporary orders. And since both of you will be contesting where the final residence of this child will be under orders, you will have to have your hearing conducted before a district court judge regarding that issue. Okay, so Ms. Campos, I would like to hear some testimony so I can make some temporary orders, and then I'm going to refer it back.
Okay, then I think we would request to reserve retroactive support for the final then.
Okay.
At least limit that issue here today.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and call Ms. Munoz as my first witness if you're ready for me to do that, Judge.
I am.
Okay. Ms. Munoz, can you please state your name for the record?
Jamie Munoz.
And can you please state the name of the child that you have with Mr. Mahirs Diaz? And what is Bailey's date of birth?
It's June 06, 10/10, 2020.
And first I'll ask, has there been any family violence issues in this case where you would not want to disclose your contact information in a court order to Mr. Mahirs?
No.
Who does the child primarily live with?
Me. And she stays with grandma on weekdays to help me as of right now because of work.
So can you go into a little bit about that schedule?
So we have an agreement where she'll watch Bailey or take her to school, and then she'll get dropped off because she knows the bus drivers. So she rides with her uncle, who's a 6-year-old. So
Okay.
she goes home after grandma to grandma.
Okay, so she is staying with grandma. And when you say grandma, is it the maternal? Is it your grandma? Is it your mom or dad's mom?
Dad's mom.
Okay, so she is staying with dad's mom from Monday through Friday?
Yeah, just for school as of right now.
And when you say school, what school is the child going to?
Up house.
And what kind of school is that?
Like a early child development.
Okay. So, and just to make sure I understand, so the child lives with the maternal grandfather or grandmother Monday through Friday because of
Yes.
this sometimes. Okay, when you say sometimes, what do you mean?
Like if I don't have, hold on, Bailey, close the door. Like right now she's with me because school can't have her because she was having the diaper rash.
Okay, so only when school is in session, Bailey lives with her grandmother from Monday through Friday.
Well, she doesn't really live with her. She's just staying as of right now because of work, the hours right now. And because dad isn't here to help me as well. Like I could switch to overnight and have her during the day, which is no problem, but grandma can't do that.
Okay, so she is living with grandma temporarily during school times so that there's some ease of transportation for her to school.
Yes.
Okay. How long has that schedule been going?
When school started. Because before she was living with me and I had a babysitter before then. But then babysitter didn't like how grandma kept coming forward and saying things. So she decided what's best for her.
Okay. So this schedule started happening when school started. When did school start?
I think mid-August,
Okay.
maybe at the end
So
of August.
Okay. So before mid-August, the child lived primarily with you, is that correct?
Yes.
And what kind of visitation was dad having at that point?
Whenever he came to visit town.
Okay.
And then whenever mom would go out of town, she'll ask me if she could take her, and I'll say yes, like for Thanksgiving.
And when you say whenever dad would come back into town, is he not currently living in the same city as y'all?
No, when he visits, he comes and lives with mom.
Are you currently working?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Tesla,
And how much do you make at that job?
$20 an hour.
And approximately how many hours per week are you working?
I'm working 50.
And do you have health insurance available at that job?
Yes.
And how much does it cost just for the child?
I'll say about $12.
And how often do you get paid?
Every 2 weeks, bi-weekly.
Okay, so it's about $12 every 2 weeks.
Yes.
And that's just for is that just for medical or is that dental included?
Money is just medical.
Okay. Is there dental insurance as well for your
Yes.
job? And how much does that cost?
I haven't done the 2024 yet enrollment.
As of this point, how much does it cost for dental insurance?
$5.
Okay, so it's $12 every 2 weeks for medical and then $5 every 2 weeks for dental.
Yes.
And is the child currently enrolled on your health plan?
I haven't done the enrollment yet. They just gave it to us for 2024.
Okay, for 2023, was the child enrolled on your health insurance?
I just started a month ago.
Okay, understand. Are you requesting to be named primary for the child?
Yes.
And why should you be named primary?
I've been having her this whole time. She has not been with dad whatsoever. And yes, dad's mom does help me, but she's just helping.
Okay. What kind of visitation schedule would you like to see for dad going forward?
It doesn't really matter. I'm not picky. He can see her.
Okay. So you would be fine with like a standard possession schedule then?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Mahirs Diaz, if you had ordinarily, if you have an attorney, your attorney would ask.
And why?
And yes, dad's mom does help me, but she's just helping.
Okay. What kind of visitation schedule would you like to see for dad going forward?
It doesn't really matter. I'm not picky. He can see her.
Okay. So you would be fine with like a standard possession schedule then?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Mahirs Diaz, if you had ordinarily, if you have an attorney, your attorney would ask questions of the witness. And since you are here representing yourself, I'm going to offer you that same courtesy. Do you have any questions for Ms. Munoz?
No, ma'am. Oh.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Campos, you may call your next witness.
I'll call Mr. Mahirs Diaz as my next witness. Mr. Mahirs Diaz, can you please state your name for the record?
My full name is Miguel Angel Mahirs Diaz.
Okay. And are you requesting to be named primary for the child?
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you requesting that?
I am requesting primary so I can better take care of my child and be able to make decisions, whether that be financially or just any major decisions, to better take care of my daughter and to provide her the best future that I can give her.
Okay. Do you agree with what Ms. Munoz has said about the child's schedule?
To some degree.
Okay. To what degree are you in disagreement with what she said?
So I did agree with the fact that my daughter does stay with my mother Monday through Friday for school and therapy, because my daughter is autistic. So she gets her therapies done at the house, which is occupational and speech, and she also gets those done at school as well. Now my daughter's been living with my mom for roughly a year now, almost a year. A lot of back and forth. She does visit her mom. She does stay with her mom. She does stay with my mom, but it's been roughly about a year now that my daughter's been living primarily at my mother's house.
Okay. So Ms. Munoz said that the child started staying with your mom on the Monday through Friday basis starting August of this year. Are you disputing that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When are you saying that she started living with your mom?
About the beginning of the year or so.
So around January of 2023 is what your testimony is?
Give it a little rough estimate. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what kind of if you were named primary, what kind of visitation would you like mom to have moving forward?
No limit on no visitations. She can be in and out of Bailey's life as she pleases. She can come Monday through Friday. It's no problem with me.
And so you
Or
said that
Monday, sorry, apologies. Monday through Sunday. Like there's no limit on when she can see Bailey.
okay, understood. And so the child has been staying with your mom. Are you living with your mom as well?
No, ma'am. I'm currently not living with my mom because I'm currently active duty in the U.S. military.
Okay. How long have you been active duty in the military?
3.5 years now.
So how often do you see Bailey?
I see Bailey every time that we get a holiday block leave or emergency leave, which I haven't taken emergency leave. So around the holidays is usually the time that we as soldiers get time to go visit our families and spend time with them. For the most part, I am constantly here at work or here on base.
Okay. So approximately in the past year, how often have you seen Bailey?
So I usually see her every 6 months. That's usually like around the holidays. So like every 6 months I get to see her, and every time I do come, I'm roughly there for about 2 weeks. And every time that I'm there, Bailey's with me uh, the whole time. Of course, there'll be days where she'll go with her mom. There'll be days, but for the most part, when I'm there for the 2 weeks, my daughter's with me.
Do you have any electronic communication with your daughter while you're away?
From time to time, I do FaceTime her with my mom, and then when I do talk to her mother, my daughter will be there. So I try my best to. Again, it's a mental toll because I am away, but I do try to have video communication with my daughter as much as I can.
Are you planning to stay active military for much longer?
No, so I get out March 16th of this year, and I'm currently in trade school to go get my CDO, so I can go home and be a full-time father.
Okay. So as of about March 16th, you were going to be leaving the military service and moving back home?
Yes, ma'am.
How much are you making at this point?
Yearly, roughly about $52,000 a year.
And is there health insurance available through your work?
Yes, I get TRICARE.
Okay. How much is that for the child?
So it'd be $30 a month for my daughter.
And does that include dental?
Medical and dental, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you leave the job in March, will that affect your benefit status?
No, ma'am, because when I go into once I get out March 16th, I go back to my civilian job, but I will still be part of the National Guard Reserve component, so I can keep my benefits, and that way I can still pass those benefits on to my daughter.
Okay. And so you said it was $30 bi-weekly for the child?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Munoz, same courtesy for you. If you've had an attorney, your attorney would have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Mejia Diaz. Do you have any questions for Mr. Mejia Diaz?
No.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else, Ms. Campos?
No, Your Honor, there's not.
All
I
right,
can give some numbers shortly if you are wanting me to. I'm just doing some quick calculations, and it will depend on what you order for who to carry.
okay. All right. So, Ms. Munoz, let me ask you some questions about the insurance coverage. Is Bailey currently insured with your plan?
Right now, she's covered with Medicaid.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, Mr. Mejia Diaz mentioned something about Bailey having to some therapy for her autism.
Yes, I did an appointment where we found out she was autistic. I'm the one who took her.
Okay. Help me understand why the therapy is being done at Mr. Mejia Diaz's mother's home and not with you.
Because his brother is also autistic, so they have the same therapy. So it'll be easier on their behalf to have it at their home. And the therapist is both hers and his.
I see. Okay.
Because it's no problem. It works better, is what she told me.
All right. Now, the testimony provided by Mr. Mejia Diaz was that your child has been primarily residing out away from you for over a year.
Yeah, he's lying about that. She was with me from January till summer.
Okay.
I do have a witness. I had a babysitter, which is my brother's girlfriend. She was watching her while I was working at a different job.
Mhm.
She was watching her, so I don't know why he would say that.
Okay. The other thing that Mr. Mahirs Diaz testified about was having, I guess, FaceTime with Bailey. How often does that happen?
He doesn't FaceTime me for Bailey.
Oh,
And it'll be rare. I'll call him and he'll be like, oh, I'm busy. And he's always like out with his friends. So he chose not to. I always been able to like be like, hey, you want to talk to her? No, he could talk to his mom with her. And that's what he tells me.
how would you describe your relationship with the paternal grandmother? And what is her name, by the way?
Lara Deez.
Lara. Okay, so Lara Deez. So how is your relationship like with Miss Lara Deez?
She treats me like a daughter. I love her.
Okay. So it sounds like it's a good relationship.
Yeah, she's helped me. She cares.
Okay. Now, when you say you're working at Tesla, sounds like you're working a lot of hours. Are you working the later shift?
No, they have us right now for 5 days, but they always switch it from 4 days to 5 days. I don't know.
Okay. And so help me understand again why it would be easier for your child to spend the night at the grandmother's home during the week. Help me understand that again.
Because I just started the job. I had lost my car because I was having no help. I didn't have a job. Lost my car, and then like I had to donate plasma. Didn't have money for like to support our kids. So I didn't have any help from him, and he was telling me, oh, go buy my own diapers. I could do this all by myself. He's only gonna give money to his mom to support his daughter, which is no problem, but like, how am I supposed to figure it out if she's with me too? She's my child. I'm asking you for help, and you're telling me no because of me.
Okay, Ms. Munoz, I think you're getting away from the question. So the way I understand it is that Bailey isn't with you during the week. So somehow
As of right now.
Okay, so but why can't you just drop her off at her grandmother's every day for as part of the daycare process? Why can't you do that?
I can, but grandma said it would be easier than to have her going back and forth.
Do you not live close to her?
I do.
Okay, so it's just easier.
We live 5 minutes.
So it's easier for her just to have the children with her overnight to do whatever she needs to do and get them on the bus.
She wants to go to bed early, yeah.
I see. Okay, so it's more for
But there is times where I should be like, hey, can you come get her? I'm like, no problem. Like, I could have her for the whole 3 days or whatever. I already took in time off work to be with Bailey as well. I had just started. It's not like, oh, this is like been going on.
Well, Bailey's very lucky to have her grandmother. She's be able to have that relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I had a babysitter beforehand. It's just that grandma kept going up to babysitter saying things, and I guess they're going at it.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add to your testimony?
No.
All right. Mr. Mahirs Diaz, is there anything else you would like to add to your testimony?
Oh, apologies. Would you like me to go off of everything that I just heard, ma'am? Is that all right?
You can respond to that, sure.
Yes, ma'am. So dating back to when you asked the question why the therapies were now taking place at my grandmother's house. So the first time I tried to set them up, I was at my house, and she wasn't living with me at the time. So she wouldn't show up on occasions to take Bailey to her therapy, so they canceled the first therapy session. The second time I tried to set it up, I got to set it up at where she was currently living. Not currently living now, but where she was living prior to where she lives now. And I got a call from the therapist saying that every time she would show up, mother and Bailey weren't there. So they canceled it the second time. I got angry, so I called them a third time, and I got it set up at my mother's house. And I told them this is where she's going to be at. You are going to show up. My mother's going to be there, and my daughter will be there for her therapies. And since then, the therapies have been taking place at my mother's house. Sorry, it's a lot to try to conjugate. So on the note that sorry, apologies. Talking to Bailey on the phone. So I am in the service, so I do go to the field a lot, and I do work a lot. I technically work 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. I can get called at any instant moment to, hey, you got to go to work. So the reason why I pertained from calling her mother to speak to my daughter is because we get into a lot of fights, we get into a lot of arguments. So I took it upon myself to say, okay, I am going to have a relationship with my daughter, and when she's with my mom, that's when I will speak to her, because that is the most comfortable environment that I can be in. Not argue with the mom. I can still talk to my daughter. I can still communicate with my daughter on the notion of that I'm not helping her and that I'm not giving her money directly. So my daughter has access to diapers, clothes, whatever she needs from me. I had given my mother joint bank to my bank account, so my mom can at any given moment pull money in and out of my bank and buy the necessities that my daughter needs. Now, the reason why I don't give that directly to Jamie is because if my daughter is primarily living full time with my mother Monday through Friday, then I will buy the necessities and the necessities will stay at my house. If she needs any necessities, she herself can buy them and have that set up at her house. But I used to buy 2 diaper boxes, one for my house, one for her house. And that became a problem for me. So I decided, well, if she's going to be staying with my mother full time, then everything will be at my mother's house. Anything that she needs, clothes, diapers, food, will be at my house. And when she goes stays with her mom, she can take diapers, she can take clothes, but for the most part, all those things will reside at my house. For food wise, my mother and my stepfather have asked Jamie to participate more in just food wise. Like, hey, we need help with food while Bailey's living with us, because it's not just Bailey, my mom, and my stepfather. It's my 3 brothers and so on and so forth in the house. Now, currently, Bailey does receive food stamps, or yes, she receives food stamps. Jamie receives food stamps for Bailey, and while she's been ongoing with those benefits, my mother and my stepfather have not received any compensation for those benefits that belong to Bailey. The most that I've been told is like a gallon of milk that she would bring to my mother and my stepfather.
Have you set up like a dependent allotment for Miss Munoz or to your mother?
Not a dependent allotment. Again, my bank account, me and my mom have a joint bank account, so she has access to it. Anything that my mom needs, if it's there, grab it. There is no limit amount, like, oh, here you go. If she needs anything at any given moment, if I have the money and it's there, take it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm curious, Mr. Mahirs Diaz, since
Yes, ma'am.
you had TRICARE available for Bailey, why did you not enroll her in the TRICARE plan?
So I have been trying to enroll my daughter in childcare for roughly 2 years now. But because I am a single soldier and I'm not married in the military, I need physical documentation proof that says I have somewhat custody over my daughter, so that way I can enroll her into the program to make her a dependent of mine, so she can receive my benefits.
Okay, so it sounds like you needed a court order to enroll the child.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is Bailey your only child?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. All right, let me give you some information for these temporary orders. I'm the associate judge for this court, and my decisions can be appealed. So if you disagree with my ruling, you can request a new hearing before a district court judge, and that hearing must be requested within 3 working days after I sign orders. So I know you probably not have been through this process before, but if
Yes,
it's just a repeat. The Attorney General's office will prepare orders electronically. So we use DocuSign for the signature. You'll get a DocuSign document so that you can look at it for the temporary orders, and you will attach your signature. If you disagree with my ruling, then your signature isn't necessary. The state will still submit their order to me for my signature, but you will still know that the order's signed, so that if at that point, if you wish to request a new hearing, you will know when your clock starts ticking so that you can make that request. Okay, so under temporary orders, because there's an issue about which parent will have the right to determine primary residence, which could affect a lot of things. Those are very lengthy processes, and it's a very lengthy hearing. There are lots of witnesses that could be called to provide testimony with regard to the custody of the child. That's not something I'm able to do in this court because of the nature of these large dockets. Okay, so it is more appropriate for it to be in the referring court, where they can schedule half-day trial, full-day trial, multi-day trial, and sometimes custody matters do last that long. So I encourage you that if you don't have attorneys, that you consider hiring one, because these custody issues can get complicated. And there's some things that you need to prepare for that you didn't have this morning. Okay, so these are going to be just temporary orders, just to get you some kind of schedules and get you on your way. All right, so the paternity was established with an acknowledgement of paternity, so that's been resolved. I'm appointing the parents as joint managing conservators. You will share in rights to make decisions together and have access to records for the child, so you will have that. I am appointing Ms. Munoz as the parent with the right to determine the residence of the child, because she's here and she's making a determination as to where this child can be during the week. And has the ability to have a grandmother that's available. It sounds like that relationship is really good, and grandmother is able to provide some support to Ms. Munoz while she's going through she has a new job. That may change. And so if it does, and the grandmother is no longer able to provide this help, then Ms. Munoz can have she'll have the right to make decisions with regard to the resident. So she will have that right. Now, it will have a geographic restriction to a Travis or any contiguous county. So during the temporary orders, Ms. Munoz, you need to keep your residence within Travis or any counties that surround Travis. I don't think you're going to move anywhere, but that's usually what I order for temporary orders. Now, right now, Mr. Diaz is away. So he's not able to have regular visits. However, I think electronic communication would be good. So, and I think I can order, I don't know, because of Mr. Diaz's schedule, I'm just going to leave it available for when he's available. So he can make contact with Bailey when he can. And so you need to share and I'm sure you've shared your phone number, Ms. Munoz, but make sure that that he can call you and then he can have a video contact with the child, or a phone if all he has is phone. But as long as he keeps contact with her and he can talk to her, and it's going to be one of those things that whenever he can catch you, I am ordering that neither of you block each other's numbers. Okay, that's not going to be good if you do. That way the child can have some contact. Now, when Mr. Diaz comes stateside and he's able to come back, I am ordering a standard possession schedule. It's going to be the expanded schedule. Okay, so that he has regular contact with the child, picking her up after school, keeping her a little bit longer on the weekends. I think that'll be good for the child. All right, now as to child support. So Ms. Campos, I am ordering current support from Mr. Diaz to Ms. Munoz. So you can't, I don't know if
Probably.
I think we've lost him.
Yeah, it looks like we did.
Okay, let me pause the record. Let's see if he'll come back.
Thanks.
I'm gonna see if I can give him a quick call.
Okay.
Give me a second.
All right. It could be job related.
No, he was on the computer. He got upset.
Let me give him a quick call. Hold on just 1 second.
Okay.
So I just got in contact with him. He said that he accidentally hit the cord to his internet, and so the internet connection went off, but he's trying to get it back, so he'll be right back on.
Okay, good. Thank you. So Ms. Campos, when he comes back, I'll be asking you for your recommendations for support.
Absolutely, Your Honor. Let me
get him here. Okay, Mr. Diaz, I'm glad you're back.
I apologize for that, ma'am.
It happens. You're not the first. You won't be the last. It happens a lot. Okay, here we go. Okay, Ms. Campos, we're back on the record. Do you have some recommendations for support?
Yes, Your Honor. Based off of $52,000 a year, which is a gross monthly of $4,333.33. And with health, if Mr. Diaz is providing health insurance through TRICARE, and he testified it was $30 biweekly. So it's $65 a month is what I calculated. So giving him credit for that, guideline child support would be $715 a month.
Okay, finding that gross earnings for Mr. Diaz are calculated at $52,000 annually. He is ordered to provide insurance through TRICARE and guideline support calculated to be $715. So that is what I'm ordering. So the child support will begin, excuse me, effective January 1. No special restrictions are ordered as to the disclosure of information for Ms. Munoz. So if there's any changes, Ms. Munoz, of your work or your employer, same for you, Mr. Mahirs Diaz, then you need to notify one another of any changes.
Yes, ma'am. I had a question, ma'am, if I may.
Let me get done with my rendition and then I can let you do that. All right, so the reserved issues are retroactive support and the court costs, and this matter is being referred back. All right, so Ms. Campos, did you have any questions, ma'am?
No, Your Honor, I got everything that I need for the order.
All right, Mr. Mahirs Diaz, what was your question?
Yes, ma'am. I had a question, ma'am. Am I being put on child support?
Yes, sir. It is going to be a court order for you to pay support.
If I may, ma'am, may I ask why I'm being put on child support?
Yes, because the child primarily will be residing with Ms. Munoz, and so she will need your financial support.
Yes,
For the
ma'am.
child, and you are the father, and you have the duty to support the child.
Yes, ma'am. I completely understand that. So my question for that was, the reason why I'm wondering why I'm being put on child support. If my daughter full-time stays with my mother, and I still financially support my daughter, on top of that, I had signed over my guardianship rights to my mother. So did Miss Munoz. Um, why would I be paying child support, man, when I know deep in my heart that I do take care of my daughter. Now, though I may not be there because of my job, that still does not stop me from financially supporting my daughter emotionally and physically.
The difference between what you've done before now and what it will be done in the future is that there were no court orders. So all the support you were providing to a third party is something that can be considered on the issue of retroactive support. Now, if you want to continue sending money over to your mother, that's your choice to make. I'm not ordering for you to continue to do that. What I am ordering is for you to pay support to Ms. Munoz. Now, Ms. Munoz, like you, does have the duty to support her child. So if this child is residing with a third party for a lot, more days during the week, then Ms. Munoz, I would hope, would have the decency to help your mother with some of those expenses. It sounds like before now, you were sending all of that money over to your mother and giving none of it to Ms. Munoz. So if Ms. Munoz didn't have extra money to buy a gallon of milk, or she didn't have extra money to give to your mom for snacks and dinners, well, all that money you were sending to your mom, a third party that is not part of this lawsuit,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
you and Ms. Munoz had both agreed that if there is going to be any help in allowing a grandparent to watch the child during the week, it doesn't mean that kid lives with that person. It just means that Ms. Munoz allowed that child to be with a relative because it seems like the right thing to do at the time. And apparently Ms. Munoz was accommodating your mom. Your mom didn't want to take the time, or maybe she couldn't, not sure. But it was more convenient for the child to stay with her than to pick up and drop off the child every day with Ms. Munoz. And I think Ms. Munoz, having the relationship she has with your mother, thought it was fine. And it's not unusual for grandparents to have that kind of active role, but it doesn't mean it absolves your responsibility to help Ms. Munoz support the child. Child support is more than food. It's rent, it's car payments, it's a lot of other things, it's utilities. All of that is part of the responsibility to help Ms. Munoz be able to keep that roof over her head and that of your child. So the support you're going to pay to Ms. Munoz will be able for her to accomplish those things. Who knows, maybe be able to live in a neighborhood that is different than what she has and provide better opportunities for your child if now she's getting financial support from you. Maybe she can hire someone other than your mother, like a babysitter, and she'll have that money and she doesn't have to use your your mom. There's all kinds of things that can happen. Okay, I've got to close this hearing because